Welcome to Zero Experience Required. Today we're going to turn a board and a set of wheels you can buy at Hobby Lobby into a toy car. Actually, multiple of them. I plan to get 4 out of this board, but first we need to make it thicker.
First thing we do is cut it into 3 equal pieces.
Now we need to glue these 3 boards together. I'm using Titebond 2.
I'm still figuring out exactly how much glue I'm supposed to use, because this obviously drips everywhere.
Once you have let the glue dry, just mechanically remove what you didn't wipe off with a chisel. Though, that's one thing you definitely shouldn't do. Put your hand in front of it. And it should just come right off. Though, for this project, you really don't need to have these sides perfect. You just don't want anything sticking out. One thing I did fail is I didn't clamp enough, so there's a gap here. Hopefully that won't ruin the integrity. Another thing that could have been causing that is these boards being warped. A jointer would have made them perfectly straight, but I don't have one. So here's the templates I'm going to use. I printed out 4, and as a result, I need to cut this into 4 pieces. One trick I recently saw for applying templates that I really like is first putting on blue tape. Put the blue tape on, and then you glue the template to that. Let's see how that works.
The point of this is the blue tape comes off easily, where stick glue does not. So the paper will come off with the blue tape. One thing I've learned with bandsaw cutting is you really want to try to do everything you can in one cut. If you come back in multiple cuts, you're going to have the bandsaw blade bite into a surface you're going to have to sand. And it's a pain in the butt to sand all these surfaces. So just keep that in mind. Some angles, like 90 degrees, you have to come out and recut.
So the dowel I have for the wheels are a 1/4 inch. If I drill a whole 1/4 inch, they just won't turn. So I'm going to do a 5/16 hole for the axle. The reason why I left the wheels on is those are going to be the axles for the wheels, so they'll be able to have a little more clearance. And I've marked with a caliper how far up I want the hole, and I've then marked the exact spot with an awl. So now it's just drill it. So I was a little too aggressive with the drilling, and it broke this one. So not sure what to do about that. So I just tried to glue the piece back on that broke off. Let's see how it worked. Good enough. Just gotta chisel the glue off.
Each time I drilled these holes, the block would jump, so you might want to clamp them down.
Now it's time for some decorations. I've taken a 5/8 bit and scored where it would make the hole, and I think that would look pretty good. I've done it for each of the ones, and I think I like where the holes would go. So let's do it.
Make sure to set your drill press appropriately.
Now let's remove the blue tape.
In the past, when I removed templates, I actually had to soak them to get the glue to stop adhering. This is so much nicer.
As you can see, that blue tape worked marvelously. I'm never going to be gluing a piece of paper directly to wood again. Now for the part no one likes. Sanding.
There's really not much to say about this, except if I had a spindle sander, I'd definitely use that for some of the corners. You can actually get a kit for a drill press, and I plan to it in the future.
This is the first time I've ever really needed a router table, and I don't have one. So this is my solution. The router bit barely goes high enough, but it goes high enough to make this edge. So that's what we're going to do.
And you're definitely going to want to think about this. You're going to want the blade biting into the wood as it's going towards it, and not tearing the wood up, if that makes sense. So I do a few of these wrong, and I have to sand more as a result, just because it's kind of upside down and it threw off my thinking. But other than that, this is relatively simple, and it was really nice to have this setup, even if it's ghetto.
Now some time for some final sanding.
I should have gone out and got a finer grit for my belt sander, but I didn't have it, so this is what I did, and it was so bad I cramped up.
So I made this thing when I was planning on using polyurethane to hold it up so I could do one coat of polyurethane without having to flip things over. I hate having to come back and doubling my number of coats. So this is what I made. It's simply 3 boards nailed together that I had just laying around. I didn't even cut them, and I just drilled holes for these dowels to go through the holes for the axles. And that was the plan. So then I started thinking about it, and introducing polyurethane into a child's mouth, which these items could definitely go into a child's mouth, not a great plan. So I did some research and I found something called butcher block conditioner. It's basically a finish for butcher block. It's food safe, so therefore it's mouth safe. And I'm going to go with this, so I don't need this tree.
And just cut your dowels to length to be the axle for your
Now,
wheels.
since I've cut the dowels on the bandsaw, they're not perfect. Got some tear up, so I just take a piece of sandpaper and do this to it. And do that to all 8 axles. So this is how we're going to glue these up. We're going to actually do finishing after gluing of the wheels, because it's just a paste. So put a little bit of glue. Wood glue will not adhere to plastic, so you do not need to worry about that. Or steel, so you can actually keep reusing one of these, a nail. In fact, I'm just peeling off the nail. So you just put a little glue on the nail, put a little glue on the hole. These are such a tight fit that you really don't need anything. And then just put the dowel through. Such a tight fit, you actually need something to assist you to put the dowel through. There we go. And then have some wet paper cloth nearby to clean off the wheel.
You want to make sure to remove all excess glue from the wheel, otherwise it will prevent the finish from soaking in.
Now to put the wheels on the other side. This is going to be interesting because I could barely get the axles in the first place. I'm going to be using a pound block.
Dead blow hammer might have been better, but I don't have one.
So the instructions for this say, for best results, apply warm. I don't know the better way to warm something up than with some boiling water. After a few minutes, this stuff is nice and liquidy. I assume that's what they mean by warm.
You apply it liberally, and then 20 minutes wipe it off, and it calls for 4 coats.
There you go.
Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. My daughter sure enjoyed these toys, and hopefully you can make some for someone in your life. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment. Bye.
Wow.